It took America 35 years to build something so advanced, it makes the legendary B-2 Spirit look like just a relic. Meet the B-21 Raider, the jet that changes everything, the legacy and the leap. Back in 1989, when the B-2 Spirit first rolled out of its hangar, it didn't just look futuristic, it was futuristic. Here was a bomber that could slip through enemy radar like a ghost, strike its target, and vanish without leaving a trace. It didn't matter how much firepower an enemy had on the ground, because if they couldn't see the B-2 coming, they couldn't stop it. For decades, this flying wing was the gold standard of stealth, the crown jewel of American air power, and honestly, a symbol of intimidation that stretched far beyond the battlefield. But time doesn't stand still. While the B-2 was ruling the skies, radar technology was evolving. Adversaries weren't sitting back. They were building multi-directional sensors, layering frequencies, and stitching together networks that could pick up weaknesses the B-2's design never had to worry about in the Cold War era. Add to that the fact that the B-2 cost a jaw-dropping $2.2 billion per unit and required climate-controlled hangars just to keep its stealth coating intact, and suddenly America needed to rethink the playbook. Enter the B-21 Raider. It isn't just the next chapter, it's practically a whole new genre. Calling it an upgrade feels lazy because it isn't about polishing the past, it's about rewriting the rules. This aircraft was designed with 3.5 decades of hindsight, crafted not only to dodge radar, but to make entire defense systems irrelevant. And that's exactly why militaries around the world are whispering its name with a mix of fear and disbelief. Stealth redefined. The 360-degree cloak. Here's the thing about the old stealth formula. The B-2 was built to be invisible from the front, which made perfect sense for missions back in the day. Targets were approached head-on, radar was less sophisticated, and the surprise factor worked beautifully. But modern battlefields aren't neat and linear anymore. When you've got radar arrays surrounding a target from every angle, with advanced computing power stitching all those signals together, suddenly frontal stealth isn't enough. The B-2 could still be detected if you caught it from the wrong side, and adversaries knew it. The B-21 Raider takes that problem and crushes it. Its stealth isn't one-directional. It's 360 degrees. No matter where a radar beam comes from, front, side, above, or behind, it bends, slips, and scatters harmlessly away. Military analysts like to describe its radar return as the size of a mosquito. Not a sparrow, not a baseball, but a mosquito. Imagine trying to lock onto one of those with a flashlight in your backyard at midnight. That's exactly the kind of frustration radar operators will face if they even realize the B-21 is there at all. What makes this possible isn't just shape, it's brains. The aircraft was designed with the help of artificial intelligence, running millions of computer simulations to optimize every curve and contour. Down to the placement of bolts, every detail is tuned to keep it invisible. And while China and Russia have poured billions into radar systems hoping to catch up, those massive networks are instantly outdated the second a B-21 flies into their airspace. That's not just stealth, that's stealth redefined. Size, payload, and strategy shift. Now here's where things get counterintuitive. The B-21 is actually smaller than the B-2. The B-2 spreads out at a massive 172-foot wingspan, while the Raider comes in at around 132 feet. On paper, that sounds like a downgrade, right? Smaller wings, smaller payload, less bomber for the buck. But this is where modern strategy flips the script. With stealth aircraft, smaller usually means better. Every square inch of surface area is another chance for radar to catch a bounce, so trimming down the wingspan actually makes the B-21 harder to track. But size isn't the only trade-off. The B-2 can carry about 40,000 pounds of bombs, while the Raider maxes out at 20,000. That's half the load. But here's the thing. Modern precision weapons don't need brute force to get the job done. A single smart bomb today can achieve what used to take a whole string of bombs in the past. Hitting within inches of the target means fewer weapons, less collateral, and more efficient missions. And being smaller brings a whole list of perks. The B-21 can use shorter runways, which means it can launch from more bases around the world. It requires less maintenance between flights, making it more reliable and cheaper to operate. And because of its lower cost per unit, the Air Force can actually afford to field more of them. instead of being stuck with just a handful like the B-2. So no, the B-21 isn't weaker because it's smaller. It's sharper, leaner, and better adapted for how wars are fought today. And when you zoom out, this shift from big and heavy to smart and stealthy is what gives the Raider its edge over anything else in the skies. Tech gap, from Cold War to AI era. To really appreciate the B-21, you've got to rewind to the late 1980s. The Soviet Union was still America's biggest worry. Cell phones looked like bricks with antennas. The internet? Basically a science experiment for universities. And stealth technology was still something out of a sci-fi sketchbook. In that world, the B-2 Spirit was groundbreaking. Engineers hunched over drafting tables, drew blueprints by hand, built wooden models, and tested prototypes in wind tunnels. It was genius work for its time, but limited by the tools they had. Fast forward to the birth of the B-21 Raider, and it feels like you've jumped dimensions. This aircraft wasn't just drawn up by human hands. It was sculpted by artificial intelligence and supercomputers. Millions of simulations ran non-stop, tweaking every bolt, curve, and seam to squeeze out maximum stealth. Instead of hoping a shape might scatter radar, engineers could watch real-time digital models predict exactly how invisible the Raider would look from every possible angle. And then there's the material science story. The B-2's famous midnight black paint looked intimidating, but it was fragile. It needed climate-controlled hangars and constant reapplication just to keep its stealth intact. The B-21 ditches that hassle. It's built from advanced lightweight composites that are stealthy by nature, layered with futuristic coatings that don't just absorb radar. They shrug it off with almost no maintenance. That means less downtime, fewer headaches, and more planes in the air when it matters most. This is like comparing a vintage cassette player to a smartphone. One belongs to a Cold War museum. The other is engineered for a future defined by AI, quantum computing, and technologies we probably haven't even imagined yet. The B-21 isn't just stealthier, it's cheaper, smarter, tougher, and most importantly, it's future-proof. Cost and production, learning from past mistakes. If there's one painful lesson the U.S. Air Force learned with the B-2, it was cost. The original plan was to buy 132 of them, giving America a massive stealth fleet. But with price tags spiraling out of control, that number shrank to just 21 bombers, each costing around $2.2 billion. To put that into perspective, that's more expensive than the entire defense budgets of some countries. It was a jaw-dropping achievement in engineering, but a budgetary nightmare. The B-21 Raider flips that story completely. Each unit is projected at about $692 million, a bargain when you compare it to the B-2, and the Air Force isn't stopping at 21. The plan is to build at least 100 Raiders, maybe more, spreading out costs and giving America not just one crown jewel, but a whole arsenal of stealth bombers ready to deploy worldwide. And the real secret sauce is in how they're being built. Traditional aircraft design used to mean endless tweaks between concept and production. On average, 15 to 20% of designs had to change once you started putting the aircraft together. The B-21 program cut that down to just 1%. That's almost science fiction levels of efficiency, thanks to advanced digital design tools, 3D printing, and modern manufacturing methods that bring designs to life with nearly perfect accuracy. That efficiency isn't just about saving dollars, but also about saving time. Faster production means the Air Force gets more aircraft sooner, and it means the U.S. can actually stay ahead of global threats rather than playing catch-up. The Raider program proves you can build smarter and cheaper without sacrificing capability. At the end of the day, the B-21 is proof that America has learned from its mistakes. It has refined the playbook and now knows how to scale cutting-edge technology in a way that doesn't bankrupt the system. Operational power, a different kind of bomber. Now, here's where the B-21 really starts to break away from its older sibling. The B-2 Spirit was built during the Cold War for one primary role: deliver nuclear weapons deep into Soviet territory. That single mission defined its design. But the Raider? It's built for the chaos of 21st century battlefields where cyber, drones, satellites, and long-range missiles all collide at once. Start with range. This aircraft can fly 2,500 miles on a single load without refueling, which means it can reach practically anywhere on the globe from U.S. bases or Allied territory. But range is just the appetizer. What really sets it apart is that it's optionally manned. The Raider can fly with pilots on board, or if the mission is too dangerous, it can go completely autonomous, controlled by artificial intelligence. Imagine sending a stealth bomber into hostile skies without risking a single American life. That's a game changer. But the B-21 is more than just a bomber. It doubles as a stealth command center in the sky. Picture this. It slips past enemy radar, stays completely undetected, and while it's at it, it's coordinating a fleet of loyal wingman drones, relaying intelligence, jamming enemy radars, and managing communications for forces on the ground. It's like having an invisible headquarters floating above the battlefield. That's not science fiction, it's baked into its design. The B-21 isn't locked into one role. It can drop nuclear or conventional weapons, guide drones into enemy airspace, or provide real-time battlefield command. That flexibility is what makes it so valuable, because in modern war, unpredictability is everything. The Raider doesn't just attack, it orchestrates. Strategic impact and the future of air power. So what does all this mean for America's rivals? Well, it's certainly not great news. China has poured billions into creating no-go zones with dense radar networks and anti-air missile systems, designed specifically to keep American aircraft out. Russia's done the same with its S-400 and S-500 missile defenses. The problem? None of that works if you can't even see the aircraft coming. And that's exactly the dilemma the B-21 creates. Military strategists call this deterrence through strength. If your adversary knows you can fly over their territory at will, strike their most protected targets, and vanish before they can respond, they're far less likely to pick a fight in the first place. It's psychological warfare as much as physical. The B-21 doesn't just neutralize enemy defenses, it makes them irrelevant. But the Raider's impact stretches even further because it was designed with an open architecture system. That means it isn't frozen in time like the B-2, which was stuck with 1980s tech. The B-21 can evolve. As artificial intelligence, quantum computing, or even directed energy weapons mature, they can be plugged right into the Raider's systems. This is an aircraft designed not just for today's battlefield, but for tomorrow's unknowns. And that's why experts say it's going to secure American dominance for at least the next half-century. The B-2 defined an era. It was the symbol of Cold War stealth. But the B-21 Raider is the aircraft that redefines the future, ensuring America keeps the edge no matter how the world shifts. Every time a Raider takes off, it isn't just a bomber in the sky. It's a signal, a message that America still sets the standard in air power. Smaller, smarter, deadlier, and untouchable. The B-21 doesn't just fly, it reminds the world exactly who's in control of the skies.